Hey guys, what's going on? Back with another zombies video, and this is going to be about Cold War zombies and Victis finally returning. It's just going to be a question of if it's going to be on release or in a later DLC. I say on release because there's some Easter eggs that hint at it maybe, or them maybe returning on launch. First things first, like I have to mention to people, you got to understand the devs at Call of Duty and Treyarch. They're very intelligent as far as like Easter eggs. A lot of the trailers, maybe the maps and cutscenes, if you go back and watch a lot of them, people tend to miss a ton of the Easter eggs because you just have to be really smart and intelligent like they are to hide Easter eggs or the way that they hide it. And I tell people also that there's different levels of Easter eggs. There's some that I call like the low-hanging fruit, some that like people can solve really quickly, and then there's some that like even for myself it might take a couple times going back and looking at it and then finally piecing it together. And really quickly, like I said, you have to be quick-witted, and this is going to come back later in the video. I'm going to explain why being quick-witted is very important and kind of funny at the same time. So don't take it too serious, because being quick-witted will help you solve Easter eggs, even when you're not even intending to solve anything. Um, you might make a joke about something in one of the maps or trailers, and then it might have been an Easter egg that they kind of hid in it that you might at the time didn't know. You just kind of did it as a joke or said something as a joke. And this is what this whole video is pretty much going to be based around. First things first, second thing now, is tag your totem. In Black Ops 4, the cutscenes hint at the next map that's coming. And you're going to see how this is going to tie into Victis and as far as when they're coming. And by theory, we should be getting them. I mean, it's already confirmed that we're not going to get Ultimus and Primus. I think Victis is still up in the air as far as them returning. So as far as the cutscenes in the loading screens hinting at what the next map's going to be. So Tag Your Totem was the last zombies map. And if you go with that, I don't want to say theory, but if you go by that rule that Treyarch set in Black Ops 4, where the Aether story, every map, Alpha Omega, Blood of the Dead, and Tag Your Totem, it all hinted at the next thing coming. So going with that thought, I'm not going to say theory, I'm going to just try and stop myself from saying theory, because it's not a theory, it's something that they actually put in there. Keeping that in mind, that the loading screen for Tag Your Totem hints at what's coming, keep in mind that it's a mountain with a sun or something behind it. The mountain being the main important thing that you need to look at. So again, this is something that most people don't know about, but and I've mentioned it in multiple times before in other videos. November 13th is a very important date for Victis in Black Ops 2, Transit, Die Rise, and Buried. So a lot of people don't know that those three maps, those DLCs, were based off of Back to the Future. So for Activision Call of Duty Treyarch to release Cold War on November 13th and knowing November 13th, also November 6th is a very important date. November 13th is important because it's, and I'll just read it right now. On November 13th, 1955, if I remember correctly, it doesn't say it here, but I believe that's the date Marty McFly from 1985, or I think he was in 20, because it goes 1985, it goes 1955, then he goes, because it's always going 30 years and then it went like 300 years, I think, or something like that, or 200 years. So it goes 1985. The movie starts, the first one. And that's where this is going to be kind of drawn out, but just kind of bear with me and hope that you can understand this. The movie starts in 1985. They time travel with the DeLorean back to 1955, and that's where transit I don't want to say reimagine. I can't think of the word now. Transit returned. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so it goes 19 or Green Run returned, I think it was. So it goes 1985. The movie starts. 1955 is when they go back in time using the DeLorean because they need to change the events of the future. So 1985 being the future, they go back to 1955 with the DeLorean, and that's where transit returned was supposed to happen. Like I tell people, unfortunately, when you do your research, you find out that maybe like we only really got like 20% of what Black Ops 2 was originally supposed to be about because of time constraints and console constraints. So, and a lot of this video, I mean, the average zombie fan is not going to understand any of the stuff that I'm saying. So a lot of this actually tends to be towards the devs. But anyways, they go from 1985 to 1955. We're supposed to get transit return. That never happened. So in DLC 3, we get buried, and in Back to the Future 3 is a western town. So it mimics Back to the Future. That's why November 13th is so important. Like, why would they put November 13th as a release date and not have like Victis returning or any of those maps, especially Buried returning? Because I think, like I said, November 13th is when he I think Back to the Future 3 starts in on November 13th. So that's just a little bit of a backstory. I know it's super duper complicated. You can kind of do your research on your own. I can repeat it a couple of times, but I don't think if you don't get it on the first time, you're unfortunately not going to get it on the 5th, 6th, 10th, 20th time. Just keep in mind that Back to the Future and Black Ops 2 DLCs mimic each other, and that's why November 13th is super duper important. Why I'm thinking we should at least see Victis somehow on release. It'd be kind of strange for them to use that date, or it's just an Easter egg or foreshadowing what's coming in the future. So as far as the loading screen and how everything fits into place, again, this I'm going to kind of go over really quickly. Hopefully my mouse is going to work. So we end Black Ops 4. So okay, this is leading up to Black Ops 4. So we started Black Ops 2 with Purgatory, Mob of the Dead. Black Ops 3, Monty wanted a perfect world, which is called Paradise, and this is all from Dante's Divine Comedy. I label it at the time Jason's brackets, but it's pretty much Treyarch's bracket, because you go back and you think about Transit being... so the part 1 is actually the last part. So the cycle repeated when Premise went back to the beginning. Which I stupidly did it the wrong way. Okay, no, I did it the right way. Okay, so Black Ops 3 happened, Monty in the perfect world. The next game, Black Ops 4, the cycle repeated. The cycle repeats. So I should have probably laid this out a little bit better, but I was doing it from games rather than Dante's actual cycle itself. So we go Perfect World is part 3. Part 1 is Inferno, and that had more to do with the chaos theory, but we're gonna go with the idea that they scrapped the chaos theory and just now continuing with Aether. So we go Black Ops 4 Inferno. Inferno is over. Now we're going back up to the top to part 2, which is Purgatory, and then after Black Ops Cold War. So it goes Black Ops 4, then it goes back up to Purgatory. So instead of having Black Ops 2 being Purgatory, it's going to be Black Ops Cold War being Purgatory. So in theory, or not even, it's not even theory. In facts, I guess, is the best way to say it. Going by the cycle that Treyarch has done for all the zombies map, we're now going back to Purgatory. and then from Purgatory, let's say Cold War 2 or something like that, we go to Paradise again with Monty. So, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but Black Ops 4 was definitely Inferno because we ended with Monty, and then Chaos, the 9 map, had to do with the 9 levels of Inferno or something like that, or Hell, the 9 levels of Hell or something like that also. But just understand, actually, you can kind of forget Black Ops 4 because we're into now, like I said again, we're going to part 2, which is Purgatory. So instead of it saying Black Ops 2, let's just say that says Cold War Part 2 Purgatory. So now we're in Purgatory. And this goes to back to the loading screen for Tag the Totem. Purgatory was originally a mountain. Purgatory in the poem is depicted as a mountain in the southern hemisphere. So that's where Tag the Totem's loading screen comes in, where the loading screen hints at what was coming next. So Victis, Ultimus, Primus, they all die. Their multiverse collapse or whatever they call it. So they're all pretty much dead. Next, so just keep in mind, going by the cycle and going by the loading screen, the next set or game should be based around Purgatory again. Then after Cold War is over, whenever the next Treyarch map gets announced, it's going to be more back to Monty's Paradise or about Paradise again. Maybe we might actually get we might actually get a real Atlantis, because Atlantis is considered as Paradise also, and we just never got a true Atlantis. So, sorry. So down here on the right, you can see the mountain. Purgatory is depicted as a mountain, and in the southern hemisphere, and it's about the 7 deadly sins, and then Paradise is up top, which would be the next game. Like I said, when they do all the steps of Purgatory, then they get to Paradise, which is would be the next game. So where all this comes in is the voice actress for Misty today. What's today's date? The 22nd, October 22nd. She says she's back in the recording studio after 8 months, because I guess a lot of the video game companies are opening back up, or studios, or wherever, maybe film or movie studios or video game studios are back opening up, and you can go in. No more working from home. So where this all fits in, as far as the Victis storyline, is she's back recording. So I know, unless they put the game together really quickly before November 13th, it's hard to say. Like I said again, we should, in theory, or facts, going by what Treyarch has put out, that we should be getting some word from them on November 13th. It'd be really strange if we didn't. But with quarantine in 2020, anything is possible. So where this all leads to is she posted a photo, and it looked like, and this is back to where I said being quick-witted, or quick and witty, is I made a comment and I said, why? I'm like, you look like an angel descending from heaven. And I'm like, you know what? Since she's recording and Victis died, maybe she wants to get into character, and even with the white blouse that she has on, she's probably getting into character how Misty is dead, and maybe talking to maybe Sam or one of the crews from heaven, or like kind of mimicking transit, where Richtofen and Maxis were speaking to the characters, helping them out. Let's just say, it would be so strange to not have Victis physically there. But at the same time, like I said, it looked to me, and that's being quick-witted, I'm like, I actually deleted the comment. I said, you look like an angel descending from heaven. And then, like, 15 minutes later, I was playing a game, and I'm like, it just hit me. I'm like, wait, that all makes perfect sense, like Monty had said. some stuff just works out perfectly. I'm like, oh, that's pretty clever, and that's what I'm saying about understanding Treyarch and the devs. And even her, she has done Easter eggs on her channel, but how clever they are with some of the Easter eggs that they hide in plain sight, and you just have to be very clever and see what they're doing or how they're doing it. And of course, I'm talking about, like I said, I did a quick search. I did angels descending from heaven. I'm like, it's kind of the same setting where you have like an angel in white in the foreground, and in the background there's light behind them. And this kind of mimics that, especially this one up here. Like, you see the angel and the light behind them. I guess showing like heaven or the lights of heaven, or the sun, maybe like the physical sun in the sky and the clouds and stuff like that. So I was like, that's pretty clever that they would actually allow her to do that. She has done Easter eggs for zombies in the past, like this on her Instagram. So I'm like, how clever is that? That they're hinting at her, maybe Misty being dead, maybe they're in purgatory, and she's kind of maybe speaking from them from the heavens, or her being in purgatory since they died. I always thought they would do like the time bomb and have them just reset back to buried, but maybe they did die and they're just going to be or they can reuse assets or reuse the storyline. I mean, it is a cycle, and then they actually fight in Alcatraz. That could be another thing. Or our new transit buried diaries could be just different versions of purgatory. So there's a lot of different meaning behind it as far as how the maps can actually play out, or how the maps are going to be made. Or they could already have the maps made and they just kind of have her recording new lines. So I'm just going to pretty much wrap it up there. But again, just to sum it up, like, she's recording stuff, and for her to have one of her photos looking like this, looking like an angel descending from heaven, and I kind of, like I said, meant it as a joke and being quick-witty or quick and witty. And I'm like, wait, that could actually have been an Easter egg that, like, sometimes I could be, or people can be smart and clever at the same time, but at the same time, you're like, you kind of overlook stuff in a way. I'm like, that is pretty clever that they would, or she and Treyarch would allow her to do that, hinting at maybe she's recording Misty lines again, like she's in purgatory or heaven or died. Or maybe, I don't see it being tape recorders that you click on. It'd be kind of strange for them not to have Victis back, since that is part of the. It's like, it was supposed to be like their new story now. Again, like I said, really just to backtrack, the loading screens hint at what the next maps were going to be, and going by this the date, and also hinting at Victis maps and stuff like that. And then going by the cycle, we should be in purgatory now, especially with the loading screen and the story and stuff like that. And again, today, like I said, October 22nd, she's recording, and then she just happened to post this photo. So actually, like I said, again, deleted it. I'm like, that could sound either really creepy, plus I don't want other people stealing ideas, because people do that in the zombies community. They steal your solves and answers and don't credit you on it. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'll see you guys later.